What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, I don't really follow the NFL that much, but I saw something that Shannon Sharp said today about Bill Belichick, and I thought that it could apply to Steve Kerr. And I've always suspected this of Steve Kerr. And I think when they were winning, I used to get a lot of pushback from this, but now, as we've seen history go by, more examples of it, I think I'm starting to get a little bit more support with this. A lot more support. Shannon Sharp has always been one who felt like Belichick should deserve more credit than Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady was the one that was being elevated by Belichick's genius. Remember, it was always hearing it about how much of a genius Bill Belichick was. The same thing we used to hear with what's the guy named Mike Shanahan when the Broncos was winning. He's a genius. Then suddenly, when John Elway and Terrell Owens got hurt and retired, you stopped hearing that shit because they kept losing. So, look, the numbers speak for themselves. And without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick has something like, I don't know if it includes this season or includes the 1-3 start this year, but Bill Belichick has I think it's a 36-44 record. Let me see if I can find it again. Oh, I was way off. He is 63-75, and possibly 64-78, because I don't know if that includes this year. Let's go with 63-75. He's 63-75 without Tom Brady as a head coach. As a matter of fact, without Tom Brady, he's only had one winning season, and that was 2008, and one playoff appearance, both in 2008. This year, he's 1-3, and they only win against the disastrous Zach Wilson and the Jets. It's the only win they got. And they look nothing like the team that they were before. And also, even though I don't follow football like I used to, I think that's proof that most of those Patriot fans I used to see 5, 10 plus years ago were all bandwagoners, because half those motherfuckers have evaporated. Matter of fact, most of them suddenly became birds and flew south for the winter and went to Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. So this is what Shannon Sharp had to say. He said, if I could pull that article back. He said, I was foolish. Fool. I've been one of those guys who said that Coach Belichick deserved a lot more credit than Tom Brady, but I was foolish in my assessment. It's becoming more and more apparent to me that Tom Brady was largely the reason why the Patriots won, because, you see, he goes to another team and they win. He said in the latest episode of First Take, Coach Belichick has struggled to win without Tom Brady. What has Coach Belichick done without Brady? He keeps missing the playoffs. Yeah, last year the Patriots under the leadership of Mac Jones and Bill Belichick failed to make it through the playoffs. This year they already are looking at a poor start. If they failed to make it through the playoffs this season as well, then it will be the second straight season for them without the postseason. Look, man, as much as I used to get on Tom Brady, and y'all know I'm not a big fan of him. It's not that I personally hate him. It's just that I hate all of his fans. I hate what they represent. I know that some of the reason why he got praised had to deal with some other stuff that I don't want to get into. I mean, because, it's just a lot of stuff that used to get on my nerves. The favoritism, all of that stuff used to just get on my nerves with Tom Brady. But having said all of that, the guy is a great quarterback. Super great. top 2, 3 great, in my opinion. But without Tom Brady, Belichick, the supposed genius, looks like the mediocre coach that he was in his Cleveland Brown years. Not that he was terrible, but he was pretty mediocre. So, I say all that to say this. When I start seeing Steve Kerr's name as a top 10 all-time coach, top 15 all-time coach, it gave me great pause. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. I said, there's too much evidence to support the suspicion that Steve Kerr is being propped up by all-time great talent. He's being propped up by Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and for a while, Kevin Durant simultaneously. I feel like he was benefiting from that. And then I noticed in the years when he had to deal with adversity, when one of those guys was out for a significant period of time, they struggled. I'm not saying that you're supposed to win a championship and go to the finals every year. But there were times when other great coaches have had to make adjustments and they still got it done, or they still were very successful. I mean, Phil Jackson lost Michael Jordan, for goodness sake, in '94, and they still made the playoffs. Matter of fact, only won 2 fewer games in the year they had won previously. Red Auerbach had to deal with injuries. I know those teams were loaded, but he still had to deal with injuries. He still had to piece teams together and move pieces around to make it work, but he did it. Even Pat Riley. But Steve Kerr seems to be incapable of making adjustments. And whenever he goes up against a superior coach in a series, either he loses or somebody on that team has to play lights out to overtake Steve Kerr's ineptitude coaching at times. I mean, it's a dude right now. Steve Kerr's a guy right now, from what I understand. Steve Kerr is a guy that is considering starting Klay Thompson at the fucking 4. The 4, my man. The 4. This is a guy that just was embarrassed in FIBA competition. He seems to be a one-trick pony. This guy's not a great coach, man. I don't care that he won 4 championships. I don't care. It's not always about championship rings. It's not always about win percentage, because you got to look at other shit, man. I tell anybody that Bill Finch runs circles around Steve Kerr as a coach. I don't care if Bill Finch only won 46% of his games, because you got to look at the fact that Bill Finch, most of his career, he was always trying to turn bad teams around. That was his challenge. His challenge was trying to turn around teams that only won 20-some games, 30 games. That was his challenge. He was a guy that was in there not for, to try to take a great team and make them a title contender. He loved the challenge of turning around a bad franchise and making them contenders. And he did that year after year after year after year. But the one time that he was hired on a team that had talent, they made a record, at the time, record 32-game turnaround. And Larry Bird said that his greatest coaching influence was Bill Finch. So yeah, it's not always about X's and O's. I mean, not X's and O's. It's not always about win percentage. It's not always about championship. That's the name of the game. Don't get me wrong. But if you inherit a team that got 3 or 4, 3 All-Stars and 2 superstars and four Hall of Famers, I mean, you only could do but so much losing. But when you go up against a guy who's a superior coach that has a team that's even marginally competitive to yours, then you lose, like a Billy Cunningham used to do. You know what I'm saying? In the finals. Until it just had a team so superpowered by Moses Malone, it didn't matter no more. But yeah, man, I just never seen Steve Kerr as an all-time great coach. That's just me. You know, I think I know he won a lot of titles, but matter of fact, you could kind of put Steve Kerr in the John Cundler. Well, no, I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't do that either because I can't say that because John Cundler won 5 titles when they weren't doing that. So I can't say that. I can't say that. I don't know, man. I just would put Steve Kerr in a different category. Coach that was fortunate to come along at the same time. Matter of fact, he didn't even really piecemeal that team together. Man. I mean, he made some adjustments. He did, and I give him that. But I don't know, man. Hell, even when he was with Phoenix, right? Remember when he was general manager with Phoenix? Did they really make any big time like changes? He became their what? General manager of what year? I want to say it was like 2007, 8. 2007. So he was there from 2007 to 2010. And I'm pretty sure, I think the only year that they did something was, I think that last year they went to the conference finals and lost to the Kobe and the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I was just checking some stuff out right there. I don't know, man. I just never been. Look, I love Steve Kerr. He was with the Bulls. I did, but as a coach, I know it don't sound right because he won 4 titles, but I suspect if you put Steve Kerr as a coach on a basic team, they get their ass whooped. Remember the year when Draymond was the only guy he had available, and they would get blown out by 30 points in the first quarter, regularly losing by 40 and 50 points, and then Draymond quit. That's what I think Steve Kerr would be on a regular team, man, just as a coach. I think he'd be like a 30 and 52 coach.